On Instablogs Global Report today, we talk about the disputed islands between South Korea and Japan. Our CJ discusses why the historical South Korean ownership of islands is unquestionable, but that's later in the show. Also in Global Report, aid hampering Africa's development. Divorce rate on the rise in Egypt. Sri Lanka war affecting education. Welcome to Instablogs Global Report. I am Shivanjali, your host for the day. A territorial dispute over a long contested set of small islands between South Korea and Japan threatens to upset diplomatic ties. Our CJ discusses the history of the dispute.
This is Tristan, citizen journalist from South Korea for Instablogs. Dokdo, Takashima, the Liancourt Rocks. This small group of islets, roughly situated between South Korea and Japan in the East Sea, has been a startling topic of controversy for the past 60 years. In Korea, they are known as Dokdo, in Japan, Takashima, but many Westerners still refer to the islands as the Liancourt Rocks, named after the French whaling vessel that represented the West's first encounter and official charting of the rocks. The Liancourt Rocks are actually comprised of two main islands and 35 smaller rocks that are currently controlled by the South Korean government. South Korea claims that the islands have been thoroughly documented and can prove, with the use of ancient maps and historical records, that the islands have always been under Korea's jurisdiction. The heated and conflicting arguments surrounding the sovereignty of the Liancourt Rocks, however, can be traced to 1905, when Japan legally added the islets to its territorial boundaries. Shortly after, in 1910, Korea, which had been an independent empire, officially became a protectorate/colony of the Japanese Empire. Sovereign disputes over the islands ceased until Japan's defeat in World War II. Today, it remains an internal dispute between South Korea and Japan. The Japanese government has continually pressed South Korea to take the matter to an international court of law. South Korea has continually refused these requests, citing that Korean ownership of the islets are unquestionable.
With every summit and UN meetings, Africa becomes the priority on the agenda with new promises of aid. The aid, they say, is important to bring Africa out of the gloominess and towards the better future. But is this really the case? Discusses our CJ from Africa.
This is John K. Booker, citizen journalist reporting from Uganda for Instablogs.com. Aid may be necessary in Africa because of a destroyed economy, but we need more of intellectual aid. It may sound unbelievable, but in many ways, aid has also hampered our growth. People in rural areas are losing their confidence of sustaining themselves. They continuously look up to NGOs, a matter of shame and grave problem, forgetting that aid is a kind of support given out during emergencies and not to continue forever. Many times, aid workers promote this behavior, giving materials which are not sustainable in our place without further dependence on the political masters to use aid to strengthen themselves more in state power. Also, aid needs to be more of outside support with strings attached, forcing government to develop proper legal and administrative infrastructures.
With broadened divorce laws in Egypt, the social stigma attached to divorce may be decreasing in much of the conservative Egypt, but mistreatment and discrimination still remains. Reports our CJ Sahara from Egypt.
This is Sarah Naguib reporting from Egypt for Instablogs.com. Since Egypt broadened its divorce laws in 2000, women have had the legal right to divorce their husbands through khola. With 1/3 of marriages ending within the first year, the number of divorced women has increased, reaching more than 65,000 in 2006. While the social stigma attached with divorce may be decreasing as divorce becomes more commonplace, women face many difficulties both during and after the divorce. Through khola, a woman may ask for a divorce unilaterally, but has to forfeit all her financial rights. However, the process is shorter and the judge is more likely to rule in her favor. The former husband is still required to pay alimony, yet most of it doesn't cover basic needs for the children. While divorced women may not be mistreated socially, as divorce becomes more widely accepted, the many problems women face during and after divorce may deter a woman from seeking one altogether. And once divorced, these women often choose not to remarry.
The conflict in Sri Lanka has brought it to a brink where reconciliation seems impossible. It has created an atmosphere of fear affecting school children the most. Let's go to our CJ in Sri Lanka.
This is Sujishwa Abhisekra, a CJ for Instablogs reporting from Colombo. Conflict in Sri Lanka has many faces to it. It is not only killing people alone but affecting the society as a whole. Innocent children are the ones who are prone to this never-ending conflict. As the shelling grows in many parts of the country, attendance in schools has fallen considerably. This leads to many other problems as well, and that includes displacement, which is mainly credited for the falling attendance in schools. Secondly, sudden and chaotic aerial shelling without any regard to time and place is disturbing the students. Parents are refusing to send their children to the schools in this climate of hostilities. As a result, 30% of the students in Kilinochichi and Ponaran regions alone are not attending schools. Conflict has even terrified the teaching staff in these bordering areas. The life-threatening situation forces teachers to seek transfers, and new appointees show reluctance or refuse to serve in conflict areas, putting education in peril. In these days, fight between LTTE and the government soldiers grows, and there is no firm indication as to how long the education will suffer.
And if you want your voice to be heard by millions, let Instablogs be your platform. You can contact us at cj@instablogs.com. That is it in today's show. We'll get back with more updates and more voices. Till then, it's goodbye from the entire team of Global Report.